Okay. Let's hope that this stays. All right. Everyone here? Everyone here? I think we got it. I think we got it. Okay. Let's hope that it stays, that there's nothing wrong. It kept saying that there was an overload. All right, let's go straight into what I wanted to talk about. I know, but I'm not using my Yeti microphone. That's the problem. This high-powered microphone that I spend a lot of money for, I can't even use it. It's ridiculous because once I used it, it said it was overpowering the system. So I can't even use this high-powered microphone. This microphone's a piece of junk, apparently. If any tech people would like to assist me in setting my microphone up and actually using it so I can use it, let me know. DM me. Hey, Earl. How's it going? Hi, Earl. All right, so let's get right into it because we're going to have to even go even later today because we are. All right, so let's look at the headlines today. The thing I wanted to lead into is this. Nope, not that. Miss America. All right, because Miss America this is getting really ridiculous. So Miss America, Cara Moon, she might actually be dethroned because she spoke out against this bullying and this oppression from Gretchen Carlson, the new leader of Miss America. So rather than the oppressing people and the toxic people and the demeaning people, Gretchen Carlson and the top leadership, rather than them resigning or getting fired because it's clearly not working and they're getting a lot of complaints, Cara Moon, the Miss America, the oppressed one, the victim, she might have to dethrone herself. That's really sad. I mean, if these were men that were bullying and oppressing and being sexist towards the women, Miss Americas, I mean, you better believe there would be a firestorm of complaints and, they would just be tarring and feathering them. And I can't stand this double standard anymore. It's absolutely insane, right? It's insane. And we can't continue to have this. This is hypocrisy. This is toxic feminism on full display. It's women attacking other women and women trying to become the worst kind of men. They complain and they bitch and moan about this patriarchy, about the supposed evil patriarchy that is consisting of evil men, of toxic masculinity that is oppressing women, that is sexist towards women, and that's demeaning women. And that is the whole reason why Gretchen Carlson took Roger Ailes and the rest of the staff of Miss America, the other CEOs, down. And by the way, even the way that they went about taking them down seems very suspect. They went through private emails, and found a couple jokes that they were saying about the Miss America contestants, and then they went about their witch hunt and had them fired for sexual harassment. I mean, come on. I mean, that's really suspect. Does anyone have any privacy anymore? Does anyone have any private emails anymore? But anyways, even what Roger Ailes and the rest of the Miss America men management did was not as bad, not half as bad as what Gretchen Carlson and the gang is being accused of doing and what we can clearly see they're doing. So it's just so ironic that, women are complaining about what men do and men being oppressive and toxic, and then not even a year later, we're only halfway into the year, and the Miss America is just falling apart at this new all-female leadership's hands. It's the hypocrisy and double standards that make the Me Too movement and this modern, horrible brand of feminism very difficult to take seriously for rational people like myself. We can't take it seriously. It's way too difficult. because it really, they're making themselves out to be a joke. And, you know, I also find it that this, what happened in Miss America within the last 6 months, I think that that's a foreshadowing, that's a perfect example on display of what would happen if women were president, or if the wrong woman, if toxic feminists were president, right? I think this is a perfect, what better case study, right? These toxic feminists, they tear these men down. They say, we can do a better job at leadership than you can. We can do a better job than you can. You men need to go. You men are what's wrong in the world. You men are toxic, right? Then we're going to take over to create a more loving and less toxic environment. We could do leadership better than you. So they hijack the men, rip them from their throne, from their leadership, and then these women take over the leadership position, all confident that they can do a better job. And then, no surprise, it totally falls apart, not even 6 months later, right? I think that that's a perfect example of what would happen if Hillary Clinton were president, or if a lot of these toxic feminists became president or in high leadership position. And I personally have witnessed this happen to perfectly good companies or organizations where men were leading the company perfect, and then women stepped up, and all of a sudden the company was in complete disarray and turned toxic, and it turned to shit within 6 months to a year. Now, I'm not saying that women can't lead. I do think that men tend to do a better leadership job than women in many cases. And I also think that if something isn't broke, don't fix it. There was nothing wrong with Miss America before these feminists stepped in. Nothing was wrong with it. It was working perfectly. For many, many decades and many years, these men had a handle on how to get good ratings and how to get people to be engaged and how to get people to want to watch Miss America and how to make it great for the contestants too. And the winners of Miss America, they had a handle on it. They were doing great. They knew. And then these feminists thought that they can do better. And then they couldn't, right? It's a Jezebel spirit that is taking over the US and really taking over the world. It is a Jezebel spirit. And it's got to go. It's really sick. And, you know, and it's this Jezebel spirit that is infecting all of women. And by the way, for those who just joined in to my personal YouTube channel, if you go to the New Right Network, that's YouTube/New Right Network, that's where all of the action is. If you would like to send me a tip, it's always welcome. You can do that on my personal channel. But if not, then you can join the New Right Network chat room. That's where a lot of other people are, and that's where you can actually see my visuals. The bathing suits in Miss America was, yes, the bathing suits is exactly what we wanted. Even me, I'm a female, and I like watching the bathing suits and the evening gown section. The other thing about this new version of all-female leadership in Miss America and Gretchen Carlson is it is an attack on femininity. It's an attack on beauty, an attack on women, not just men. It's an attack on women because they're actually more sexist by eliminating the swimsuit competition and eliminating the evening gown competition. What they're presuming is that women cannot be multifaceted, that women have to just fit in one box. You're either the beautiful, pretty, you know, swimsuit wearing bimbo, right, who doesn't have any brains, but she likes to wear swimsuits and she has a good body and she's beautiful and feminine. Or you are the pantsuits wearing Hillary Clinton lookalike, ambitious, career-oriented, intelligent woman who cares about social justice issues and has many accomplishments under her belt. But she can't wear a bikini. She can't look beautiful or feminine because that would be giving into the patriarchy, right? So this is just an attack on women and femininity as it is an attack on men and a diss to men. And it is sexist. It is actually more sexist because the previous Miss Americas that were run by men, they understood that women can be multifaceted, and they celebrated this multifacetedness in women. They were celebrating womanhood in all its glory. Womanhood, femininity. She can wear bikinis. She can be talented. They also did assess her on her personality and whether she had goals or not and what those goals were. They did assess her on her talents. There was a talent competition, remember? Did they forget there's a talent competition? There are so many other facets to it than just beauty. And the purpose was to choose someone that was well-rounded, not just a total ditz or airhead, but ideally someone that was well-rounded, well-spoken, and intelligent. But no, feminists just couldn't let women have that, could they? And they couldn't let men just have something nice and attractive to watch on TV, to have a nice break from their tiring day at work. No, they couldn't let men have that. That's just too much. That is just too much to let men have a little vacation from their difficult day at work. And it's just too much to allow women to just be beautiful in all their glory. Yes. You know what? Feminists are just so jealous. They are so jealous. And they live in this world of anger and resentment and jealousy. They cannot stand beautiful women. And they cannot stand attractive masculine men. But yet, deep down, they secretly covet it. Yep, that is the Jezebel spirit. It's all part of this evil Jezebel spirit that wants to conquer and compete and destroy and control. That is part of this Jezebel spirit, and it is ruining. It's taking over the country and it's taking over the world. And I would love to, I'm on a mission to help eradicate this from the country and the world. And I want to start speaking to more high schools and elementary schools and colleges and churches and youth groups. I think it's really important that they really understand this Jezebel spirit that's infecting them and to break free of it, right? Women were not meant to be like this. It's taking out the worst tendencies in women, and really the worst tendencies in men too. Anyways, make sure that, again, you go over to the New Right Network, if you want to join the chat room and see my visuals. If you want to tip me, you can tip me in my personal YouTube page. But mwah. Thank you for all the loves and the hearts and the Periscope beautiful hearts that you're giving me. I really appreciate it. Yes, feminazis are very closed-minded. That's the ironic thing. So speaking of, let's talk about the next story. Okay, this leads me to my next thing. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. Simone Sanders, total whack job. Simone Sanders says that Molly Tidbits, if you can believe this, Molly Tidbits, the woman who was murdered, completely innocent, completely preventable, murdered by an illegal immigrant that we found the other day, was murdered because, this is her explanation for it, she told a man to leave her alone while she was jogging. Her murder happens to be undocumented. Oh, happens to be undocumented. This isn't about border security. This is about toxic masculinity. Molly Tidbits lost her life because a man couldn't take her saying no. Full stop. Is that just about the stupidest thing you have ever heard? Is that just about the stupidest thing you've ever heard? Molly Tidbits was murdered because of toxic masculinity. Wow. So what are her solutions? We need to educate men more. We need more toxic masculinity training courses. We need more eradicating your toxic masculinity training courses. Can you believe that? Yeah, look at this. I'd love it if we can have a real conversation about how women's lives are literally in danger because some men do not know how to check their egos. How many more women have to die before we address this? How about how many more American citizens have to die before we address the illegal immigration problem? Before we actually get some tough love going and we actually enforce the laws of our nation and we actually give our president an opportunity to fix this broken immigration system. How many more Americans have to die for that? You crazy, weirdo, crazy woman. So she blames this all on toxic masculinity. And everyone else blames things on toxic masculinity. In fact, I'm going to nominate this as the stupidest tweet of the week. She gets the award, stupidest tweet of the week. What do y'all think? What do y'all say? And this isn't the only person that is blaming things on toxic masculinity. Let's see a couple more things that are blaming on toxic masculinity. And you know what? This is scary. This is Progressive Christian magazine. You guys be really, really weary of false prophets. Be careful who you follow. Be careful of these false prophets, these false Christian magazines and these false Christian newspapers or blog sites, or even priests and pastors that are preaching things that are not of God, that are preaching things that are not really actually the truth. And a Christian magazine, Progressive Christian, that should tell you all you need to know, dismantling toxic masculinity in boys. Can you believe that? That is not what God says. She says, this person says that we need to work on toxic masculinity. Broken men hurt women. Broken men demand women cater to fragile male egos. Broken men don't empower women. Look, this is all, again, more of it's actually the Jezebel spirit in disguise. It's saying that men basically should cower down to women, and men should be empowering women. And men, she said, the lie that our boys are fed from every direction, that it is, in order to be a strong man, you must take power from others instead of giving it away. And then she talks about how the head of the household is not supposed to be the man. Can you believe that? She says the man it should be equal, right? It actually should be equal. And it's not. Really, I believe that the man should be the head of the household. He should be the leader. And she just basically goes into saying that, you know, if we really need to work on this toxic masculinity. And hi there. Yes, man, the agenda is to use feminism to destroy the family and emasculate men. Yes, that's absolutely the agenda. And look at this. Here's another one. This is just sad. Sad, sad, sad. Blaming it on men. Constantly blaming it on men. Do men ever get a break? Are women ever to blame? Because as soon as something comes out where there's a woman to blame, I've seen countless stories. They're always buried though, but there's countless stories where the woman, like let's say, you know, a 40-year-old school teacher is molesting or raping one of her boy students. But that never gets any media attention. Nobody ever says that's toxic feminism or toxic femininity. Nope, it just gets buried and it's written off as just a little fluke, a little mistake. Oh, it's no big deal. No powder in there. And when a woman murders her husband in cold blood, which often happens, when a woman murders her own children, when a woman beats her husband or commits domestic violence against her husband, which, by the way, if you actually look at the domestic violence rate, men come up higher than women. Men are actually more of the victims of domestic violence than women are. And men are more of the victims of emotional abuse and stalking than women are. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yes, but of course, all of these facts are completely buried. All of these facts are distorted. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know these things. But anyways, so they want us to just focus on toxic masculinity. All they want to do is focus on the fact that men are the perpetrators and women are always the victims. So look at this sick article. Don't buy into this trap, guys. Never let a woman tell you you're toxic. Never let the media or anyone tell you that you are toxic just for being born a male. You are wanted and needed in our society. I love you. There's many people out there that love you, and we couldn't have our world without you. We could not have our world without you. And the problem in our world, well, let's read this quickly. Look at this. A senseless murder in Philly is latest sign that toxic masculinity is killing us. Look at this. There are two violent incidents that happened more than 1,000 miles apart with seemingly little in common other than the senseless bloodshed. One happened right here in Philly Friday morning. Blah, blah, blah. Her recently estranged husband took his own life. This happened again. Blah, blah, blah. Look at this. And it talks about domestic violence and unrest, but of course it doesn't address what Texas domestic violence against women. And it talks about toxic masculinity. We've heard the sad story so many times. The underlying problem is that the underlying cause of these killings, drum roll please, toxic masculinity. A poisonous mix of a craving for male supremacy, an inability to properly channel emotions, and an inevitable turn towards violence when things are not working out. Okay? It's so deeply rooted and almost becomes background noise. The crisis of toxic masculinity needs to be on the front burner of the American conversation. Yeah, the front burner? Oh, okay, so we shouldn't really worry about legal immigration, criminals. We shouldn't worry about jobs. We shouldn't worry about our economy. We shouldn't worry about the opioid crisis where hundreds of people are dying every day because they're addicted to opioids. We shouldn't worry about homelessness or the homeless veterans or the 22 veterans that are committing suicide every day. Nope, nothing to see there. We should focus all our attention as Americans on toxic masculinity. That should be on the front burner of the American conversation. Are you fucking kidding me? Excuse my language. I don't like to swear, but that is disgusting. And why is it getting worse? Do you think maybe men are becoming toxic not because of their inherent masculinity, but because of the discrimination towards them in the world, because of the gynocentric legal system that we live in that is completely favoring towards women and propping women up and exalting women and beating down men? Do you think maybe because from the ground up, as far as kindergarten and even earlier, we're shaming men and castrating men essentially and blaming men for all of the world's problems, for wars? We're claiming that they're one misstep away from being a rapist. We're claiming that they all have tendencies to be evil and sexual harassers and oppressors and wife beaters. Maybe do you think that has something to do with them turning into angry men, or maybe bringing out the worst qualities of them? Maybe do you think the education system is set up completely to favor women and it's completely become feminized and it's disempowering men? It is not catered to men's learning styles, but now it's catered to women's learning styles. I don't know. Do you think that might have something to do with bringing out the worst qualities of boys and men? Do you think maybe the fact that, 80% of suicides are males? Do you think the fact that women claim every day that they want nothing to do with men and men are useless and men are toxic? Do you think that might have something to do with men growing up becoming angry? Or maybe the fact that most men who grow up in a single father home or a single parent home are raised by women, by females. And if a boy is raised by a single mother who is most likely going to be a feminist, he is most likely going to grow up with some kind of resentment. And he is much more likely to grow up addicted to drugs, dropping out of school, not being successful, and developing some relationship issues, right? Not all, but many guys who grow up with single women, single mothers, have tendencies towards that. Do you think maybe that has something to do with it? The problem in the world that we need to work on is not toxic masculinity or the fact that there's masculinity in the world. No, on the contrary, the biggest problem right now is that we're lacking masculinity. We're lacking real, healthy, strong masculinity. We're lacking empowered men. We're lacking men who are having a clear purpose in life and who know their purpose and who feel needed and wanted in the world. That's the biggest problem. It's not masculinity. It's a lack of masculinity in the world, and we need it. I really want men to do a week without men and go on strike. I really would love to see the social ramifications of that and the financial ramifications of that. I mean, women always talk about having a day without women day for National Women's Day in February. And, no really any impact. In fact, I would think men would be pretty damn happy to show up at work and finally not have women there for a day who create this toxicity in their environment often, right? I think that might be actually kind of a little break, a little vacation, relief, right? But no, the society is not going to collapse if all women take a day off of work or even probably a week off. And I'm the first to say it, I don't think society would collapse. But if men all went on strike and took one day off of work or 1 week off of work, I guarantee you systems would crash, right? Who would operate the trains? Who would operate the buses? Who would pick up the trash? Who Who would, run the computer systems? Who would do all the things behind the scenes? Men. Men are really the backbone of our society. We need men. And I don't know what it's going to take to have women, feminists, and society really get the need for men. And by the way, they do know. The higher-ups, the elite, they know. They damn well know how needed men are. They know this. And this is why they're intentionally trying to break men down and eradicate them. This is why, because they know how powerful men are. In a good way. They know how powerful our country is when we have strong men who are clear in their purpose, and we have strong fathers, and we have strong families. They know this. They know this. But they're trying to deceive. They're trying to trick everyone else, the useful idiots and the sheeple. They're trying to trick them into believing that men are not useful, and men and women are exactly the same in every way, shape, and form. They're trying to trick and deceive them so that they don't know, and that they're stupid, and that they don't fight for men, and they don't fight for healthy relationships between men and women, and fight for healthy families. They're trying to deceive them. But yes, the higher-ups do know. But I think if we had a week without men, maybe that would be the dramatic effect we need to actually have more women step up and actually give a damn about this. Hey, Russ. Good to see you. Good to see you, Russ. I hope you're doing okay. I couldn't say it any better. Thank you. So, what's shaking? And thanks for everyone who's in my YouTube channel, the Periscope. Now, let's transition into my next topic. So, men and women are different, right? But I hate to break it to you. I have something to tell you. Okay, I have something to tell you. I don't have a vagina anymore. I don't. I'm sorry to tell you. I have something else. I have a front hole. I have a front hole. That's what feminists and social justice warriors' next mission is. Yeah, they think that the word vagina is oppressive and triggering to trans people. So now they're on a mission to replace the word vagina with front hole, because that's not very offensive. That's less offensive to trans people. Are you out of your minds? Yes. Look at this. Front hole? How unromantic is that? How unsexy is that front hole? Look at this. New safe sex guide. This is just so silly. A popular online information website has unveiled a new LGBT inclusive sex education guide geared towards youth. Within it, the medical term vagina is replaced with the words front hole in order to prevent triggering gender dysphoria for transgender people who are born with female body parts. Crazy, right? So this is their next thing. It continues to explain that as a result, the notion that a penis is exclusively a male body part and a vulva is exclusively a female body part, it's inaccurate, and therefore, for the purposes of this guide, we'll refer to the vagina as the front hole instead of solely using the medical term vagina. This is gender-inclusive language that is considerate for the fact that some trans people don't identify with the labels that medical community attaches to their genitals, the guide says. What? 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 Wow. And I really can't believe this. And yet there's more. There's more. There's more of this craziness. Helpline's guide warns that omitting, so the LGBTQIA, the LGBTQIA Safe Sex Guide emphasizes the importance of its updated, inclusive, safer content by stating, the lack of representation in anti-LGBTQIA bias that LGBTQIA and binary people often see in safe sex guides stigmatizes certain sexual behaviors and identity. The guide warns that omitting such critical information in traditional sex education is directly related to the health disparities and higher rates of HIV and STIs reported within these communities. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is really sad. This is really sad. I have a hard time even believing this. But this is kind of a big shit test, I think. When are people going to put their foot down and say, enough is enough? No, I'm not calling a vagina a front hole. I'm sorry, we're not changing that word. I'm not going to call a penis an external apparatus. I'm not. When are we going to put our foot down publicly, not privately and not in our heads, but publicly? When are we going to put our foot down and say enough is enough? If we don't do this, the social justice warriors and the evil of the left is going to annihilate us. They're going to annihilate us. They're going to. And what are we going to tell our children? What are we going to tell our grandchildren? Oh yeah, we just sat by and twiddled our thumbs and sat on our butts and did nothing, while our values and our souls got eaten away by these evil people, by the devil, really. This is Satan's great deception, right? To completely distort everything that God created. This is Satan's great deception. And I've had enough of it. I'm sick of it, and I'm going to fight till my last breath. And I really call you guys to also. Do not cater to this political correctness. Do not let, when people say this publicly, and when people talk about this publicly, please, I hope that you have the courage to stand up and correct them, right? I hope that you have the courage to stand up and correct them. We can't just tell our grandchildren and children that we sat by and did nothing while the evil won and ate our souls and all our values, and we've turned into these genderless, soulless workhorses. Someone in the chat room is asking me if I'm homophobic. So exactly, this is the problem. I'm sorry, but you're the problem. Just because I'm not going to call my vagina a front hole does not make me homophobic. No, it doesn't. Sorry, it doesn't make me homophobic. I can be tolerant and accepting of gay and lesbian and transgender. I'm totally tolerant and accepting of it. But I don't think the majority of the population need to then cater to them and distort the truth, and everything that we need to do and everything that we know is true and is reality. We don't need to cater and change for that small percent that is LGBTQIA. That is what's delusional. I'm sorry. And that doesn't make me a homophobic. Can you believe these people saying that I'm homophobic just because I don't want to call my vagina a front hole? And just because I don't believe that gender is binary, because I believe that men and women were created men and women, and that is the norm. Heterosexuality is the norm, right? Heterosexuality is the norm. You can, however you slice it, and LGBTQIA is not the norm. It isn't. And that's okay. It's not homophobic to say, it's just the truth, right? God created us, man and woman, and that's the most natural. If he wanted us to be gender neutral or non-binary, he would have created us like that. He would have created all of us as hermaphrodites. He would have created all of us as hermaphrodites. We can all reproduce with everybody, but the fact is we can't. Only men and women can reproduce. So you got to look at that. You got to question that. And I will stand by that every day and know that I'm not a homophobic. You are heterophobic. You must be a heterophobic. Anyways, I'm going to close my window because, of course, the gardeners come out. And at the very, very time that I always start doing my podcast, I have a quote in my book, by the way. And it's a very relevant quote. It's the last chapter of my book, Final Thoughts. And this is my book, Making Love Great Again. Making Love Great Again on Amazon. But it's a very important quote, and it's by Edmund Burke. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. I'm going to read that again. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. So, are you guys going to sit back and do nothing, keep your mouth shut, while the evil takes over our world that we love so very much and that we cherish, our values, our way of life, and create a future that's truly frightening for our future children and grandchildren, are you going to be a good person who sits back and does nothing? Because that's just as bad. Or are you going to rise up, have the courage to stand up and speak out against this evil? I sure am, and I really call you guys to do that too. I know it's difficult, and I know you won't win very many friends, at least not now, although they may thank you for it later. But it's not popular, it's not politically correct, but it's so necessary. It's so important that you guys do this. Become a truth warrior. And to be a real truth warrior, what does a warrior do? You've got to fight, and you've got to really stand up when the going gets tough. And it's not going to always look pretty, but we can't keep our mouth shut anymore. We can't afford to. We are at a crossroads right now, and the war is going on. It's not just a physical war. It's not just a physical war. It's a spiritual war between men and women. I mean, and between evil and good and evil, right? Between good and evil. That's the war going on. And we can't afford to lose this war. We just can't. Because once we lose this war, there is no turning back. If we lose our Constitution to leftists, which they're trying to eradicate, there is no getting back. We can't ever get our Constitution back. We can't ever get our country back either. It's not going to happen. And we can't recover from evil winning. So that's why I say the silent majority has to become the loud majority. We can't afford to be silent anymore. And you know what? Enough with this doom and gloom too. And by the way, I am going to go into relationship advice after this because I promised you, and I will stay an extra half hour too. But, you know, this doom and gloom, I hear so many people say on my YouTube, I'm just looking real quick because someone was saying that there's the images off in the camera. The image looks like a mirror. I love you too. And if you want to go to the New Right Network, so YouTube/New Right Network, then you will be able to actually see what I'm referring to. Okay, I'm going to go real quick, and I'm going to close my window. Loud gardeners. Okay. I'm back. Okay, back. So I want to talk to you about hope. Okay, hope, hope, hope. This is really important. A lot of people write into me, and they write into the comments, and this is why I actually end up deleting a lot of comments. But I write into, yes, I agree. Okay, is that better? I'm adjusting the other camera. Okay. Uh-oh. Is the camera all good, by the way? Is the video okay? Yes, there's 2 channels. Okay, video's okay. Sorry guys, it's the first time I've streamed 2 channels before. I'm still figuring it out. Okay. So let me talk about hope before I get into my next thing. So there's a lot of people that are really giving in to this doom and gloom, hopeless mentality. And every day they write on my YouTube channel and they write on other people's YouTube channels, and not just YouTube channels, everywhere. And they constantly say, oh, life isn't even worth living anymore. I can't even, no women are worth it. All women are like that. A Walt, and they constantly say, family isn't even worth it anymore. Having children aren't worth it anymore. Getting married isn't worth it anymore. Living basically isn't worth it anymore. Like there's no turning back. Nothing can be fixed. Okay? And I have to say this. When you say things like that, when you say that you're hopeless, what you're doing is you're giving in. You're giving in, I'm sorry to say this and get all religious on you, but you're giving in to the devil. You're giving in to Satan's biggest deception, which is to break down your hope. The evil wants to break down people's hope, because when your hope is broken down, then you lose the will to fight. You lose the will to fight, and you lose the will to live. You lose the will to put in any effort to make any kind of changes. And then evil has got you right where they want you. You're falling right into that great deception. You're falling right into that trap of evil. And you're being pulled by like a puppet, right? Like, yes, one more down. How many more to go? You're falling right into it. And when you have hope, then something actually can be changed. Something can be done. You can have a future. So I don't believe in this doom and gloom. And I don't want you to buy into it either, because when you are hopeless and you are defeatist, like you wave the white flag and say, I'm done. Studies have shown that your DNA actually changes. Your DNA changes and you become soulless. Like you literally lose your life. You lose a life inside you. And you don't actually live with the kind of energy that someone who has hope lives with. It's really scary, and you don't live with that kind of heart. It's like you crossed over to the dark side. It's this dark, satanic energy, if you will, demonic energy, because you've lost that light inside you. And I encourage you guys to not give in to that great deception. Not give in, again, Satan wants you to be hopeless because you're broken down, you're weak, you don't fight, you don't have hope anymore, and you don't have a will to fight or to live. And then you're right where they want you. You've fallen right into that trap, right into that deception. We have to have hope. And that's why I just don't give in. Anyone who writes that kind of stuff on my channel, I just delete at this point. It's not worth it. If they're going to have a defeatist attitude, woe is me, nothing can ever be changed, it's really just, you've given up on life. And I won't allow it anymore in my chat rooms. I won't allow it in my community. Because that energy brings other people down too. It sucks other people down. My channel and my community is a place of hope. It's a place of light. It's a place of love. It's a place of truth. And we might go through some dark things sometimes. We're going to have to wrestle with some dragons, and we read some things that are not pleasant because they're truth and they're in the news and we have to talk about them. But I like to come to a place of hope. I always like to go to a place of hope because we have to. And I believe, I'm not just an optimist, I am a realist, and I just believe that things are going to turn around. We can see it every day. We can see evidence of it every day. I know it's going to turn around. I just know it. Okay, so now lack of hope equals death. That's why the news promotes hopelessness. To kill our spirit so we can easily be dominated. Exactly. Exactly. Let me actually read exactly what this is. There's something, it's even more different than that. Let me see. I like being around nice people too. Is the video okay? It's saying encoding overload. Encoding overload. What does that mean? Encoding overload. How's the video? Water holds vibration through word and thought. Most living things are made mostly water. Exactly. My thoughts exactly. Okay, I just wanted to send this real quick or show this. These are the exact words, okay? So oh, it's called Satan's frequency. Yes, that's the exact terminology. Satan's frequency. Satan's frequency. So the hopelessness, the doom and gloom, all the negativity that they pour, they saturate in the news, right? That is called Satan's frequency. And it's intentional. It's a form of mind control. It's a form of spirit control. They're trying to control our soul, or our spirit, our soul. It's mind control and soul control, a better word for it. And you get tapped into, when you get so plugged into that doom and gloom and that negativity and that hopelessness, the defeatist attitude I was talking about, that a lot of MGTOWs buy into. A lot of MGTOWs buy into. Not all, but a lot, unfortunately. You then are tapped into Satan's frequency, okay? And once you're tapped into Satan's frequency, then it's a sign that literally your DNA has been changed by the enemy. It's been changed by Satan. And it starts becoming evil. It starts ripping the life out of you. And it's really hard to get out of it. So when you're talking to someone like that who is hopeless and who's down and who feels like there's no hope for the future, you know that they are tapped into Satan's frequency. And you can try to help them, but it's going to be difficult. That's why it's important to surround yourself with more positive and uplifting people and more positive news. At least wrap the day up with positive news. We all watch the news. We all see the negativity every day, but you've got to at least end with positive news. MGTOWs always want others to agree. Yes, they do. MGTOWs, the severe MGTOWs, they suck everyone down in their negativity with them. It's really sad, and it's very demonic, actually. They want men who are good men, who want relationships, and frankly, who are capable of good relationships. They want to tear them down. They want to control their soul. They want to squeeze the life out of them. They want to squeeze the hope out of them and turn them into as angry and miserable and hopeless as they are. I guess it's misery likes company, right? And it's like a virus. They want to infect other people with this very angry, negative virus, this toxic virus, this hopeless virus. So I'm not going to have a relationship or love or a family. So I'm going to make sure other men don't have that too. It is very toxic. And the sad thing is that I have to say, a lot of these MGTOW guys, they're very heavy MGTOW, they can't be in relationships, actually. The ones that they're trying to tear down, those guys they're capable of being in relationships. But the severe MGTOW guys, a lot of times they're not even capable of it, because it's like the chicken or the egg, right? They're heavy negativity and their hopelessness. It's obviously law of attraction, right? That attracts that. And they're either going to attract really crazy negative women that are clearly going to take advantage of them, and that therefore they're going to end up in the same situation over and over and then get even more angry. Or they're not going to attract any woman. They're just going to repel women and repel anything loving, anything good. And again, it just perpetuates this vicious cycle. So be very careful about that. Okay, I just want to check into the chat rooms real quick and make sure that the video is still okay, because right now it's saying that there's an overload going on. Will the left and feminism ever be held accountable for the mess they have created? I do believe it's coming. I believe that judgment is coming. And I am really, really earnestly trying to create a walk-away movement for women. A walk-away movement for women. Hashtag fed up with feminism. What do you think about that? Hashtag fed up with feminism. Because I know there's so many women and girls coming to me these days that they're fed up. They're saying that they are fed up with feminism. And I think it would be a great hashtag to circulate around, you know? And because it's like, you know, you can even still be a feminist, but fed up with feminism means I'm done with it. And it's at least one step in the right direction for a lot of these women that are over the fence, but they may not be ready to just, you know, publicly denounce feminism. But it's a step in the right direction saying hashtag fed up with feminism. And then they give a reason why, just like the walkaway movement. And thank you so much for the hearts and the love. But they want to be helped, yes. Thank you, Taurus. You said, thank you for giving me hope again. You've been my inspiration. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the love, guys. You're so sweet. Encoding overload is something that, yeah, I think the encoding overload is coming from my Mac, my OBS. Okay, now want to get into a couple other things for whoever wants to stick around. Trump 2020. The chat room is proving my point. No one has an answer. An answer for what? Oh, you guys want to see... You know what we need from women? We need some women to be locked up, right? We do. We need this.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
That's so funny. Okay, one more time because it's so funny.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Funny, funny, funny. That was one of my favorite lines. Because you'd be in jail. Hilda Beast, yes. All right, let's remove that. MGTOW is self-preservation against women. I get that, but don't tear other people down with you. If you're truly going to go your own way, go your own way. We don't care. Go your own way. But the problem is when you go and disturb and torture and abuse other people and rip down everyone else and burn the house down in flames on your way out. I'm sorry, but that is not peacefully going your own way. I can't stand when MGTOWs try to pretend that they don't do that. And if you're not the one doing it, then maybe you should have a little talking to your brothers on the MGTOW end and say, look, guys, if we want to be taken seriously, then we can't be doing these things. You know, you can't act just as horrible as feminists are. Go your own way. We don't care. But don't rip everyone else down in your path. That is not a peaceful protest. Okay. Now we're going to talk about some dating and relationship issues. Why isn't she in jail? I don't know, but she needs to be. How can feminism be... Oh, you guys have some really good questions. I'm going to have to use some of your questions on my next stream because I don't have time to answer all these questions right now, but they're really good questions. And thanks for all the guys in the chat room that came over to New Right Network. Okay, so couple things. We're going to go into a couple different things. Number one, what should we talk about first? Okay, I'll talk about intuition. No, I'm going to talk about that next time. Yeah, I'll talk about intuition. Okay, something interesting. Now, I think it's really important for people to trust their intuition when it comes to relationships. And I think a lot of us don't trust it enough. We don't trust it enough. We have gut instincts about someone, and then we kind of don't trust it. We talk ourselves out of it or something, and we don't know why. And it's important. And then a lot of reasons why relationships end is because we don't trust that intuition. So I'll tell you a story about intuition, and it leads me to another story. I recently reconnected with this guy, and I saw him on Facebook like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, interesting. And this is a guy that I was actually friends with for a while first, like 5 years ago I was friends with him. And then we did try dating a little bit, but ultimately I kind of turned it down. But then I saw pictures of him on Facebook, and I just hadn't really thought about him or looked at him in a while. And I was looking through his pictures, and I was like, damn, what was I thinking? He's this good-looking guy. He apparently, volunteers at homeless shelters and does all these great things for homeless. He's interested in personal development. He's got a great business. And he seems like my type of guy. And I'm thinking, like, racking my brains, like, why did I turn that down? How stupid. And I literally was starting to think, like, maybe I am one of those stupid girls that just turns down guys for no reason, and I deserve to be single. Maybe I'm that girl, who is just too picky and turning down good guys for no reason. I started to get in my head a little bit about that, but I was really disturbed by it because I couldn't quite remember. The only thing I remembered about why I turned him down was there was something about him that I couldn't quite put my finger on, but it was not right. All right, it wasn't right. And I actually had this weird sneaking suspicion, even though he's a very good looking guy, I had this weird sneaking suspicion that he maybe wasn't 100% straight. Like there was just a little bit of something else going on, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it, nor can I prove it. And I remembered that from before, but I kind of dismissed it. So then I reconnected with him like 2 weeks ago. And it happened to be his birthday the day after I was looking through his pictures. So I called him, and sure enough, he picked up, and I was like, hey, oh my God, I haven't talked to you forever. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I saw that it was your birthday. And we got to talking. And then he called me a few days after that, and we talked some more, and we actually gotten caught up and talked a little bit more. And it was just so funny how our intuition is correct. Now, it turns out when we started asking each other more questions and what we've been up to in the last 5 years, turns out that he had been poking around in the LGBT community in the last 5 years. Yeah, he had been, he's tried it. He went and explored that. He explored basically being gay and being bi-curious. All right? And that was interesting to me because that confirmed to me, like, wow, it's funny how sometimes I have broken up with guys before or not even started a relationship because there's some really weird feeling I get from them. And they might be a perfectly good guy, but I have something just doesn't feel right, or I have a feeling they're like X, Y, and Z, and it hasn't been confirmed, but I just have this feeling. And a lot of times I've beaten myself up over it because I'm like, I can't be that girl who just turns down guys for no legitimate reason. But every time that lately that I've actually done that, I found out that it's been confirmed that my intuition was actually correct and it turned out to be true. So it's just a lesson to you guys that you should trust your intuition. And sometimes if something just doesn't feel right, even if you can't put a logical reason as to why, you should maybe check that out and go with it. And another thing about this that's interesting is that, and this is why I'm sometimes why I feel that the LGBTQ community can be a little bit dangerous. And I'm not homophobic, but why it's dangerous is because the reason why he explored this was because one of his best friends, I guess, kept approaching him and was like, I'm gay. I think that you might be a little bit gay, and I really think that we should explore this. And he kept saying no, he kept saying no, he kept saying no. But the guy kept pressuring him to like do something sexual with him and just try it. So finally, my former friend or my friend gave in, and they ended up doing some stuff together. All right. And then he kind of convinced him to explore that a little bit more. And then he went and kind of like started getting involved in the gay community and started exploring more things with guys and more things with guys. And I just have to say, hope he's not listening, but when I talk to him now, from 5 years ago to now, from 5 years ago, he was a really good guy, really good, do-gooder kind of guy. Now, I was actually kind of sad that he is not really the same person. He parties a lot. He hangs out in the gay community a lot, even though he says now he went and just explored that, but he's 100% straight, he says. He says he's straight, but he's very, very open sexually. Like, he has no boundaries sexually. He's very sexual now, and like to the point where it seems like he has no standards. You know, he's just open sexually, whatever comes. You know, it could be a guy, it could be a girl. He does drugs. You know, now he does like party drugs a lot, and he doesn't seem like he cares about having a marriage or a family anymore. And that's a little bit sad for me because he used to be like this really good guy. And that's the thing, that when people say that the LGBTQ community is not influential at all and it can't turn people gay, I think, you know, we really have to really rethink when they're constantly in front of people's faces over and over. And there's a temptation there, right? And it could turn people who might otherwise just live a straight life, if they were to continue that and maybe get some counseling, pray about it, you know, get some really good, strong masculine role models in their life, and have a marriage and family and get really fulfilled by their father and husband role. I think that those people who might, like, you know, maybe just needs a little bit of pushing in the right direction, they might be just susceptible to this kind of temptation and all of a sudden go into this gay lifestyle and become someone that they might not actually want to be in the long run, or that might not actually be healthy for them. And, you know, we see it everywhere, and even as young as kindergarten. They're pushing this gay and gender fluid agenda. They're pushing it. They're saying in kindergarten that, you know, you're born fluid, gender fluidity. You were born with your sexuality fluid. That's going to influence people. I'm sorry, but it just is. You're dumb if you don't think that that is going to be influencing young brains whose minds are like sponges and they absorb all of that. I think a lot of that, this openness, this push to no boundaries, and, you know, love is love. You can love whoever you want, and gender is fluid. Try it. It's fun. We're all born fluid. Explore it. Explore your boundaries. It is constantly being pushed in girls' magazines and guys' magazines everywhere. And you can't tell me that that doesn't have an influence on young, impressionable minds. So what do y'all think? And this just shows you, apparently they've said, there's some statistics somewhere, and I will try to find the source, but it says that if a man only needs to, or a woman needs to be exposed to 3 gay interactions, 3 times, 3 exposures to gay interactions, and it will open the floodgates to him being gay. 3 times. So 3 times you have some sort of gay interactions, boom, you're basically gay. A lot of people think that they think it's crazy to say you can pray the gay away. I don't know if that's so crazy, actually. I think that there's some truth to praying and asking for counseling and asking for healing in this area. Because the truth is, we were designed to be heterosexual. And I am not saying anything bad about gays. I am accepting about gays. I have gay friends. I have actually a transgender friend. 2 of them. I live in California. But it's one thing to be accepting and tolerant. It's another, just like the MGTOWs and the feminists, it's quite another to try to turn everyone else into your mentality, into your behavior. It's another thing to try to turn everyone else gay or gender fluid and try to pretend that that is the norm or that is the better, healthier option for society. Mic drop. Boom. This is why I only date third world women. You agree? Disagree? And remember, if you guys can go over to the New Right Network YouTube live channel, it's where all the action is. I wish the schools could stop pushing this agenda too. This goes to show you. And maybe this guy's happier, but from what I said... Oh, and the other thing this guy asked me on the phone within 20 minutes was he literally asked me if I am... He's like, have you played with any girls lately? Have you had sex with any girls lately? I was like, whoa, this is not the guy I knew before that I was friends with. Not the guy. And I'm like, no, I haven't played with any girls lately. I'm not a lesbian. I'm not confused. I am fully straight and I love men. Thank you very much. Not playing with any girls. Bye. But he was like, it was like because he's been in this community for a while, he has no boundaries. No boundaries. It's just all like loosey-goosey. I don't know if that's going to be really satisfying and fulfilling for him for the long run. I kind of actually felt sorry for him, and I felt this sadness for him, actually, that like, is this really the person that you want to become? You know, I almost kind of want to talk to him about it, to be honest with him, because we were good friends before. I don't know what to do. I don't know if he really, in his soul, loves this or wants this, or if he's almost kind of just brainwashed into this. Anyways, what are your thoughts on that? I feel bad about it. It's just like this Jezebel spirit that's taking over women. There's this gay spirit that's taking over men. It's demonic, I believe. All right, talk about something else. So I have a Get Your Ex Back coaching program. All right, I have a Get Your Ex Back coaching program, and you know, you can look at it on my website if you want. And this isn't to pitch it, but it's one of my favorite programs, because I get to actually, a guy or a woman comes to me and they have an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend, or not even necessarily an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend, but someone who they liked a lot or loved, but they all of a sudden just went MIA, or the person lost interest, lost attraction, and they're hiring me to get this person back. They really want to reattract this person. They want to get them back into their arms and restore this relationship. It's my favorite, personal favorite actually, to coach people on, because it's there's a clear target, which I love. I love having this clear target. There's a clear person, and I get to strategize and come up with this game plan and go through their previous text message conversations and pictures and stuff, and create this game plan for getting this person back. And it's a fast-moving thing. You know, usually we accomplish it within a few weeks or a month. And to me, it's really fun. And I like to win. So I like to take on cases where I think there's a good chance of us getting the person back and winning. It's fun to me. It's like instant results. So I'm actually working with a couple people right now at the same time with this particular program. And I wanted to just share with you some of the main lessons that you know, that I've learned from the last couple weeks from them. And I'm not going to mention any names or anything. That's all anonymous. But I just wanted to mention some of the high-level lessons. So lesson number 1, when a person is not giving you... I didn't realize I'm like out of the frame here. Okay. Okay, when a person is not giving you the time of day, okay, when they are not even giving you the time of day and not putting any effort into a relationship, and it's totally one-sided, it's usually not an effort worth the pursuit. It's typically going to continue to remain one-sided unless some drastic changes are made. But a lot of guys are kind of delusional. They will, and this is what happens to actually a lot of MGTOW guys, when I really ask them the the actual facts of what happened in their relationships that made them so upset, a lot of times they get into relationships with women that really the woman has made it clear from the beginning that they don't want them, that they're not even interested in them, and yet they're continuing to chase them. That's a futile effort. And it's like kind of delusional. Why would you even chase someone that has shown you zero interest, or worse, has made it very clear to you they're not interested in you? And then these guys wonder why they end up getting taken advantage of, or why, oh my gosh, women are horrible. Well, you were kind of the fool for chasing after someone who didn't show any signs of interest anyway. There's also a common theme where some guys, they just go after inappropriate girls, like strippers or porn stars or prostitutes. Believe it or not, there's a healthy percentage of guys who get hooked on strippers. And then they wonder, and these strippers, once I go through their text messages or their, the interactions I've had with them, a lot of these strippers make it clear that they are not interested in a relationship. A lot of these strippers make it clear that they're pretty much a self-admitted hoe. And these guys go after them and treat them like a real legitimate girl, and then fall in love with them, and then get heartbroken when the woman acts in line with being a hoe and being a stripper who doesn't want a relationship. You guys, I'm sorry, but this is it is so, come on, don't be a fool. Don't waste your efforts. Don't waste your heart. We have only a limited time, a limited number of times where our heart can be broken. Our heart is precious. Don't waste your heart, men. Your heart is amazing. Don't waste your heart on the wrong women. Don't waste your heart on women that don't receive it and don't reciprocate it. Please. Because the last thing I want is for you to be heartbroken because you wasted it on a woman who literally couldn't give a damn. Don't do that. And yes, I do cook, by the way. I was just answering a chat room question. Don't waste it. And another thing, especially with the girl who's already says she doesn't want you. Not really going to work. Yes, I do cook. Secondly, I'm talking about someone's like, what the fuck am I going off about? I'm talking about people from who have gotten their exes back. Other things, okay, if she liked you, but you made a mistake of messing up, you did something to mess up or turn her off. Now that is a really good candidate for this kind of program of getting your ex back that I coach people on. But if this has happened to you where you maybe did something to turn the girl off or mess up, make sure that you turn this around pronto. Get help or talk to me and let me do this program with me as soon as possible. A big problem with guys, they wait till it's way too late. They wait till the window has passed and a girl has kind of closed her heart for you, and it's too late. And every week that you wait and every day that you wait when this happens, you reduce the percentage of likelihood that this could work, that we can do a strategy to get this person back. When you mess up or when you turn a girl off, there's absolutely a period of time where you could get her back if you make the right moves and if you do the right things. You can re-engage her, you can get her back for sure. A lot of women are a lot more forgiving than guys think. But if you wait till after the fact and you wait till long, which is just unfortunate, so many guys wait so long, and I'm dealing with this right now. I mean, if some of these guys called me up, a month ago, 2 months ago or something, I could have easily revived the situation and we could have turned it around and they would be back in a relationship with them. But because they waited so long after the initial argument or after the girl was turned off, it's just not that I can't get them back. I still have confidence that I can, but it's just that much harder. It's that much harder. So don't wait too long if you feel like you've turned a girl off or feel like you have ruined something or blown it with a girl and you're thinking in your head you still like her. Don't wait long. Figure it out or call me so that we can work on this together so that you don't waste your time. Because the thing is, if you think about her now and you think about trying to get her back, most likely you're still going to think about her months and months from now. And you don't want any regret. You want to look back and think, I did everything I could, right? And lastly, another lesson from this is you know, some guys are too cool. They play it too cool with girls that they like. And this goes right along with the pickup community, right? Pickup artists, PUAs, they constantly talk about, you know, playing hard to get as a man, being cool, leaving a lot of mystery. Don't tell a girl how you feel. Don't share your feelings to a girl. Don't compliment her. Don't call her much. Don't text her. You know, really make her wonder about you. And unfortunately, that just doesn't work. It actually doesn't work in the real world. All right? And what really works, and especially it doesn't work for girls that are actually mature. Like most girls who are over 25, they want a real man. They don't want games. And this is why a lot of girls date older guys, much older guys, because much older guys typically don't play games. They're over it. Oops. They typically don't play games. They're over it. Most guys that are older, they don't have the patience for games. They don't have the patience for it. They don't want BS. If they like you, they just say, I want you. I like you. We're going on a date next week. You're so hot. You're so sexy. You're so beautiful. I feel good about you. Come over here. When can I see you again? They just tell it like it is. And they don't play games. They legitimately have a busy or a full life, but they don't play games and they don't hold back their feelings so much. And when you play it too cool, and I see a lot of guys do this, and then I have to go and do damage control, but when guys play it too cool with girls and too aloof, it's annoying to girls. And also, we don't get that. We don't even get what you're doing. We don't usually get that you're trying to play a game or you're trying to be aloof. We just think you're being either an asshole, or we think you're being boring, or you're just stupid, or you're not into it. We don't get what you're trying to do, and it doesn't register with most mature, confident girls. We'll just move right along to the next guy. And playing cool, playing aloof, it certainly does nothing for sexual attraction. Nothing. It does not create sexual chemistry. It doesn't create sexual energy. Nothing like that. When you tell a girl what you think about her, how you feel about her, not overload, but you just, you know, tell her when it's on your mind instead of beating around the bush or censoring yourself. It actually has the effect of having a girl think more sexy and positive thoughts about you, you know, because then it makes it safe for her to break down her walls and think of you in those ways and tell you what she thinks about you. So it opens a gateway to actually more flow of sexual interest, more sexual energy, and just more in general, more loving energy too. You know, she feels closer to you. When you hold back those feelings and you hold back everything and play hard to get, she is going to build a wall up, and she will be more and more aloof too. At least the girls that are mature and confident. Maybe the girls that are super desperate, they will like the chase. Or girls with low self-esteem or who are crazy, they go after like the super, super bad boy who has no interest in them. And I do know some girls that are so desperate that they almost like it when a guy just gives them no attention and they have to work for it and work for it. But those are really desperate, crazy girls, typically not the hottest girls. And I doubt that you really want those, right? Women are a bit harder to attract than men, yes. You know nothing about what a man should do to be manly. Actually, I do, but I talk about them all the time. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to have to wrap it up. That's a good time to wrap up here. No, I'm free. Okay, time for the closing prayer. Thanks, guys, for hanging with me today for this long episode. Dear Lord, I pray that more women and men see the light and can open their hearts to love instead of hate, can open their hearts to unity rather than divisiveness, can open their minds to truth rather than lies. I pray for love and protection for our president and his family and all those working for us, that they remain safe and resilient in the face of so many forces working against them. I pray for all of you and the truth warriors of the world who are courageously speaking the truth and boldly working to bring those who are in the darkness into the light. Put on the full armor of God so that you'll be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly places. I pray for all of you that you find true and lasting love, and that God puts an incredible partner in your life to be with you in this journey and bring you the beautiful family, the joy, and all the blessings that you deserve. And lastly, we know that good conquers evil, that love conquers hate, and that together and with God's help and grace, we are able to make our country and our world great again. Amen. And you know what? I just wanted to throw an extra prayer in here for Russ and his family. I hope I didn't call you out there, but we know Russ. You know, he's in our community, and he's going through a difficult time with his daughter right now and her husband. And I just wanted to say an extra prayer for you, for peace and love, and for protection. That everything, you know. It's hard to say anything really in this situation, but I just think that everyone should just say a prayer for Russ. He's going through a hard time right now, and his family is dealing with something right now. So an extra prayer for you, Russ, and I hope everyone's okay. Thank you so much, you guys. I love you, and I will see you bright and early on Monday. Bye.